So I'm from Texas. No, kidding.
I was about to say, wait, what? How many people have asked you to say water?
Oh, okay. It's not just water. It's bottle of water.
Or if you just say water bottle, having a girlfriend 5,000 miles away is really expensive.
Oh, it's actually giving me goosebumps thinking about it. We got so busy to the point where we couldn't take on more capacity and we had to be really explicit with our customers. So like Friday nights, we would step onto the truck. We already have like 6 tickets. Yeah, we're successful now, but it was like never easy. You know, like there was obviously always the challenges and things.
Drake or Kendrick?
All right, so
he's been playing the Kendrick
so let me tell you
disc
something.
every single
I
day.
grew up in New Jersey. Obviously, New York is the birthplace of rap music.
Let's start with where you guys are from, because clearly you have an accent.
Yeah, it's like,
Okay, where are you from? And I guess where did you grow up as well?
Well, I could start because mine's a little bit less complex than you being here. I'm from America, obviously. I'm from Jersey. I grew up there my whole life up until I was about 24. I moved here around 2 years ago, but I was kind of back and forth just because Ursula and I were trying to find where we kind of wanted to settle at, just because we were long distance for a little bit, so we had to find a happy medium. So
And here is in Fort Smith?
in Fort Smith,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
we can explain that.
we will go into that.
Okay.
And then
So I'm from Texas. No, kidding.
I was about to say, wait, what? You know what's so funny, though, is I didn't even second guess it, because a lot of people I sit across here, they're like, I'm from Texas, or I lived in Texas at some point. But I was like,
That's
wait.
the joke you always say, I should say.
No
and
way.
it goes down pretty well.
it worked on the
honestly.
food truck all the time because they'd be like, "Where are you from?" I'd be like, "You gotta just start telling them you're from Dallas or something." And see
No, honestly, I'm from England.
Okay.
Yeah. So across the pond. And I ended up here for various reasons, but basically
it is my
because of
fault.
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were traveling and you met?
No, so I'm in America because of him, but for us being here, that's another story. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
we were talking online.
Yeah, so we were talking
speaking for,
online. I was still living in New Jersey, but we were talking online for like, I don't know, like 6 months.
Wow.
And then we had met in New York. I like to say it's like the perfect midway point. I had to go from New Jersey to New York, and she came from England to New York.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty fair travel. But yeah, we stayed in New York. She knew I had been making pizza like at that point for 7 years, since I was 17. So we went there kind of like for a quest for like pizza slices. And then
then you came to England.
So I got my passport, and when we were in New York, we were honestly like only there for like a few days. So it was only like, I had only been around Ursula, even though I knew her, for only like 4 days. And I got my passport and I went to England to go see her. And her knowing I did pizza, she invited like 10 of her closest friends over and rented like a portable pizza oven. Like no pressure or nothing, but
Like a backyard oven,
like a like she had like a backyard party, because I was like, oh, I've been making pizza like for whatever.
She was trying to allow you to show off.
Yeah, or she was
Yeah,
just trying to
that's
check
how I
me.
saw it, yeah, but I didn't really see it as like when he said afterwards, I feel really bad when he tells his story, because I was like, yeah, I did kind of put you on
Like I was trying to impress her, so like I had to convert pounds to kilograms, and I had to convert everything over like metrically. And this is only like my second day outside of the country ever. 4th day around Ursi. I have like a bag of flour on her table, olive oil, water. I'm mixing it by hand on her table, and then all of her friends come over, and then it's just like 3 straight hours of making pizza.
including my friend from Naples who had something to say about the style of pizza, obviously from the American.
There was a person from Italy there, so it was a lot.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
They like
Yeah,
the
I think
pizza.
she had to make her own.
She made her
pizza as
own.
well.
You
Because,
invited this friend.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I invited her.
Yeah. So I was like,
I'm
all right,
sorry.
no pressure, that's fine.
But let's be honest, though. When it comes to the metric system, because you were talking about converting, who has it right? America or them?
I think them.
I think so, too.
Yeah, it's It
I
is
think
way
it's silly
easier.
that it's way simpler.
Because like we were going back and forth, so I spent a summer in England, and cooking was just way easier, and like
There.
everything is pretty
I
self-explanatory.
do like how you guys use cups sometimes for baking and things. It's not as precise, maybe, so maybe there is more room for error, but it is easier. Like I
We
don't
should all
like.
just use
I'm
the
not very
same thing.
technical when I cook. I like to be kind of more like,
Yeah.
But the day thing, that's the thing that gets me. I feel like it makes so much more sense, and I've had this conversation with people here where it's like 17th of September and then the year or whatever. But you guys say the month
they put the date before
Yeah.
the month.
That's
Wait,
not really
what?
metric.
Yeah.
Yeah. So day,
I know it's
month,
a different
year,
topic, but yeah.
which to me makes more
Like what's
sense.
today? Like 6.
So that confuses me when I
Today's
So
like
we would
16.
say, I would say today is like I don't know what day it is.
21, 6, 24,
Yes.
basically.
So I would say it's January. It's June 24th. What would you say?
24th of June.
and if she wrote it, it would be 24-6
Yeah.
dash
Okay.
24.
So if you were writing like a formal letter,
It
you
is-
put day, month.
So,
year.
like, if we-
It's strange,
Yeah.
but you sound way smarter than me when you say it.
It's
The
also
24th
wild,
of June
yeah.
sounds way better
It
than
does.
June 24th.
It sounds more
Yeah.
proper, yeah.
Y'all got a lot of things right that we don't.
It's more of a
Yeah.
statement, you know?
know.
24th
I don't
of June.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's funny because, like, our wedding anniversary is, like, on my arm. But, like,
Oh yeah.
the date technically for her
It's
whole
wrong.
life is, like, not that day. But for me, it is.
So we didn't put. I didn't put.
Like,
the
I
date
got
on
married
my
on
one,
February 3rd, but if she sees
Yeah.
this, like, it's March 2nd. Oh,
my
yeah.
Yeah. I just got our initials.
Yeah, she got her initials. That
Oh,
Rather
wow.
than
we
the
didn't
date,
do the
just so
dates.
it's not confusing.
just in case.
Are you very close with your family back home?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what did they think about you moving to America with this?
So, okay, this kind of all lends itself to the pizza story too.
Okay.
The crazy thing is, is like I kind of came to visit, I think it was around September, October, right?
Yeah.
And during that time, I could work remotely because I was always self-employed. So it kind of made sense that I could spend more time here. But we get 90 days on like a visa waiver from the UK. So I was here, like we were enjoying our time. And like during that time, we did some pizzas in your backyard, didn't we? For like your parents, friends, and family. We were like, let's
Yeah.
just try it again. So it went down well in the UK and we did it here. But the plan was always for me to go back, but that didn't happen.
Oh, what,
So,
really?
Yeah, so we
Well,
tried
like,
the
yeah, it
pizza
kind of morphs
thing.
into like the story of the pop-up sort of.
The pizza thing kind of drew us to this area. Like his family, which we could go into a bit, moved here. You helped them move, right?
Yeah.
And then
So
Yeah.
in New Jersey, I was living with my dad works for a company here, ArcBest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been working there like my whole life. But when I was 18, still in high school, they moved to Chicago, and I was living like with my grandparents. But my sister moved with them when they moved there the first time, and I have a little brother who's only 10.
Okay.
So most of my family lived there, and then my grandpa had passed, and then my grandma was then moving in with my family. But then my dad got a promotion to come down here, so I helped them move my grandma to Illinois to then move them to Arkansas, and I helped them move, and then kind of just like having a girlfriend 5,000 miles away is really expensive.
Yeah.
So we were kind of going back and forth for a little bit. So then we did a pop-up in my dad's backyard. Ursula, she can go into this, but like has a marketing background. So like we marketed just like a few pop-ups to the people that we just like met as acquaintances, and some ArcBest employees we
just did it on donations. It
Yeah.
wasn't like an official business. You know, we were just trying to like get feelers out, get people to try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had a portable pizza oven in the backyard that we had gotten, and then Urs had it on a donation basis.
I think that was like a month after me coming over. So I was still planning on staying for a bit longer, but based on how well it went. And
The first one we were like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And then like I think we did 3 in the backyard. And then after the third one, we were like, I
Wow.
was actually starting to, like I was making a lot of pizzas in the
Yeah.
backyard, and I thought it was pretty crazy.
Okay, let me go back a little bit so I can catch up and make sure that I'm
Yeah, I didn't
following the
really answer
story.
your question.
No, you're
it's
fine.
so long-winded.
Yeah.
No, it's all good.
Story always has a lot more questions.
Okay, so you started talking online what year?
In 21.
Okay, 21. And then you come over after 6 months to America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're the first one who made the trip, not him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a cousin that lives in New York. So it was like a safe bet for me. I just
Okay.
stayed with him and then went and met him. Yeah.
Okay. So you came over to
Yeah.
New York, which is also like a really cool experience for you, visiting one of our biggest cities, like
Yeah.
coming from like, because it could have been like if you would have came directly from there to Fort Smith,
It would be a little different.
which I'm not
Yeah.
sure what part you grew up in. Like, did you grow up in a
Yeah.
big city?
Yeah, I lived in major cities most of my life. I've also lived like in the countryside or
Okay.
the sticks. or
England's
whatever
really
you call
easy
it,
for
yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
I learned like living there where it's like you can get on a train to go anywhere. So even
Okay.
if you're like 30 minutes away from a city, England's not that big. You can actually fit it in Texas over 3 times. So like to drive like
It's actually a tiny
yeah,
island.
so like to travel a lot of the parts of England actually doesn't take a lot.
We just think
or
we're
a long
super
time.
important.
But like you could drive 8 hours and see most of the country. So like it's awesome.
So you come over in 2021,
Yeah.
right? And
And then yeah.
and then after that, you go back at some point.
And then 21, I came over, end of 21. And, oh no, it wasn't end of 20. Sorry, 22. So I came over in 21 to meet him for a few days. And then between then and when I came here, which was almost like a year, we were going like back and forth between like the UK and the US.
Went to Mexico for a month.
We went to Mexico. Yeah, it was expensive, basically. So by the time I came out in, I think, September 22, and he'd moved here with his family, I just came to visit because he was here. I came to visit. We were just hanging out. I was working from here. Like you were door dashing, I think, at the time, right? And
Yeah,
doing,
so
like,
I didn't really
Amazon.
know what was
Yeah.
going on at the time. I was gonna transfer because I had been making pizza my whole life, or my whole working life, I guess. I had started when I was 16. Actually, like I know this is gonna start another story, but like
No, I mean,
I started really liking pizza when I was
to the
little.
story.
Yeah.
I used to sit in the car with my dad, like when he used to deliver pizzas on the weekend. Like he would just have like an extra job. Like where I'm from in Jersey, there would be a lot of mom and pop pizza places like that. So I would just sit in the car with him, and I would really like start like my passion for pizza. We would eat pizza at least like once a week. And then I started as a delivery driver, and then worked my way up at the restaurant to like start making pizzas when I was 17. I'm 26 now, so it's been about almost 10 years of making pizza. So yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
We
really
should
cool.
definitely go into that.
Yeah.
I try to answer your
I know.
question. I'm sorry.
I forgot where we were even going. Again.
No.
About how I came here and how long I was here for. So
Right.
yeah, I was here. in
Oh
September.
no!
Long story short, so
all
I-
this is y'all's story.
Okay.
So
all
I'll
of this
just
is y'all's
actually
story.
speed this up because we could talk more about that. I was
Yeah.
working for ArcBest for like a month or two because I was super burnt out, like from
on pizza.
on pizza and just like living in New Jersey. I had moved over here and I was gonna work for ArcBest, but again, having Ursi living 5,000 miles away, I couldn't really get paid time off if I was working for like a corporate place.
Oh, yeah.
So I rather wanted to spend time with her. So I just did like contract work, like door dashing and Grubhub driving. And I didn't really know what I was going to do until you came along.
And then I guess I kind of felt a little bit bad because he took, not that it was bad, but like, you know, he did that for me. So I was like, and we always like said in the sidelines, it would be really cool. Like if we did like a pizza thing one day, you know, he's really got like a great talent for making New York style pizza or East Coast style pizza, whatever you want to call it. And then I have a background in like business and marketing. So
Okay.
like, and also I've done quite a lot of, I used to have a street food business and I do a lot of food marketing. So
Yeah, I want to hear a little bit more of your background because you said
Yeah.
also that you were working. You had a job that allowed you to work remotely, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like when y'all started talking.
Her own business.
What was this? What was this business?
yeah, so about nearly 10 years ago now, I set up a agency of freelancers called Konnichiwa.
Okay.
So I'm not actually Japanese. I'm half Chinese, but always loved Japanese culture. And I loved like just the ring to konnichiwa, and it's like welcoming, and it's about like your hello and how you present yourself.
Okay.
So that was a very big part of it. But when I set it up, it was kind of post-recession in the UK when there was a rise of like small startup businesses and small businesses. And that's when kind of street food became big and all of that, at least near London. And then there was a big rise of freelancers too. So I kind of put two together and launched that and did that for a while, honestly, with a team of creatives, and managed luckily to be able to work with like a great amount of small businesses, and then that evolved into other clients as well. And I've been lucky to work with some clients like Red Bull and things
that's really
like that.
cool.
Yeah, which is really cool.
And what type of content were you doing? Were you working on more strategy or content creation?
So I am a creative at heart, but I was predominantly doing like creative direction, and with Red Bull it was a lot of producing, I guess. Like we did a lot of videos for them, but we did some social content, and then like some
You did some for FIFA, right? Or like a sports game? Like
EA Sports, yeah.
Some with EA.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Which was
Wait, EA
cool.
Sports?
Yeah.
Like the game? Okay.
Yeah,
like
I
for
did
FIFA.
something with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
But yeah, so definitely towards the end part, I do more the strategy. So I'll work with like the creatives and do more like the strategy, like marketing, brand strategy, and then like helping a bit on the creative direction side.
Okay.
So
She also is an AV video artist too. And has that side of her too. So.
Yeah, that's like
very versatile.
Yeah.
on the side of that, I was very into music. I actually used to work in music and would attend a lot of events and gigs and festivals. And I really loved like kind of like working with the visual side of music. Like how can you represent the sound visually was always like the thing that I loved. And I got kind of into it and got quite niche into it, where I started like doing like analog visuals of like a TV stack.
Oh, wow.
So like, like the ones people like to game on. So I own like 24 of
She
them.
has 24
back
like
home.
vintage TVs that are all like stacked, and then
Where are they at?
They're honestly stored in like my
around England.
friend's like basement in his house. Like
because they'll
back
take them
in-
out for
in the
shows while
UK,
she's
yeah.
here.
I need to
like-
move them. but-
Yeah, because sometimes she can do shows like remotely, but yeah.
He actually helped me with one of the shows on a residency that I got to do just
was her
before I
techie?
came out here.
Which means I plugged
Yeah.
in the
He's
power
my
cords on
techie.
24 TVs, and that was
But
it.
actually, he was a big part of the performance. He was filming like a live feed, which was part of the live performance through like a video camera. And we looped live stuff into the visuals live, which was fun.
Oh, yeah.
But that was fun. But yeah, that's another story.
Okay.
But,
and do you
yeah.
still do this the other businesses
Yeah.
right now?
So I did do it. I stopped it about 3 months before we launched the restaurant, just because it was very hands-on, and I haven't had a chance to get back to it since. So we're still pretty hands-on in the restaurant, and just doing the strategy and the events and marketing for the restaurant is kind of like full-time with all the operational stuff. But my plan is to
the plan
relaunch my website.
really for
soon.
you to have to be as it just kept growing, because it was like a part, like not like it was like a full-time thing for us, but it still didn't take up all of Ursula's time. And then as things just kept growing, it was just like all of her time basically needed to be put towards that. And
At least
then
for now, but we're
yeah.
starting to get more time. So I will hopefully start doing that again. But just to go back to where we were talking, because there was a big part of what we were talking about we never got to, which is why I ended up staying here. Because like, I think it's good to be pretty transparent about that. I didn't just stay in the US.
Yeah.
So like we were here for like a couple of months. We tried the pizza thing. It was going well. And we were like, this is actually working pretty well for us as parents, like put us up. They had like a lot of space in their house. So we just stayed there as like an interim till we figured out where we could like build our lives together. So that was kind of perfect for us in a way that we were like, we don't have to commit to something too much. You know, there's a lot of barriers when you're like living in different countries, to actually being together.
I mean, I can only imagine, honestly.
Yeah.
And they were here? So y'all were
Yeah.
staying here?
We were staying here with his family.
here
Okay,
in
so
Van
here in
Buren.
Fort Smith.
In Van Buren,
Oh, in Van
yeah.
Buren. Okay, cool. Who was working at ArcBest at the time?
My parents were, or my dad was.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we and my sister does, but they all relocated.
Okay.
Don't want to hijack any of your story, but like a like main part of like Ursula staying here was like because we hadn't like it took us like 7 months to like actually like be around each other. So when we actually were with each other, we spent like 24/7 together basically for I mean, we still do now. We own a business together and very rarely are we not near each other. We spent like I think more time than any two people have like actually right next to each other. We've been in a lot of different climates, a lot of different places and situations. And I just felt, you know, you were here and things were going really well with the pizza in the beginning and we chose to get married.
So we got married. We got married basically.
Wow.
So, and then I basically came here to visit and then we did have to do a trip back. I think it was, when was it we went back? But I went back to see friends and family because, you know, they weren't ready for me to just
Okay,
pack up
we
and
got to
leave.
come back to that
Urs
question.
was only supposed to be gone 2 months. She spent like a year there, got married, started a
I
pizza
got
business.
married, and we kind of like eloped. My dad did come over. Like my
her
mum,
dad
unfortunately,
came.
wasn't able to.
Okay.
Like,
We were on Zoom though. For the
What
rest
was the
of
conversation though when you first came? Like, hey, I'm going to go to America with this guy I just met 6 months ago.
so it was kind of like, we kind of had to put our faith, I guess, in like that we didn't want to put too much pressure on we're going to have to be here or this is how things have to work out. We really like felt like we had to really trust in each other the way we met, not being able to meet each other in the normal sense, which is hard to explain unless you do it, but like not being able to be there physically where you can meet the family, the friends, and like get to know someone like in that sort of 3D way rather than just one person. So we always had to put a lot of trust in each other. So I guess we just felt like, right, well, we just have to trust the process that we're together and we will let where life takes us kind of like, you know, determine rather than forcing anything.
The thing is, it took so long to kind of like get to each other that we weren't really rushing on. We were basically just like taking our time of like what the next steps will be best for us moving forward, just like for our immediate future, but even like long term too for us, just to like kind of just build our lives together.
We wanted to like build our lives together and get that going, I guess. So
Well, there also the element that, you know, not too long ago, you had just gotten out of isolation of COVID. And so
COVID was actually, Urs can talk about that a little bit. COVID in Jersey was only like really like 7 or 8 months. Like it was just like a span where
that's
people
crazy,
wore
really?
masks.
Because it was crazy in New York, right?
Yeah.
New York was on complete.
But so New Jersey, like I was probably about half an hour away from New York.
Okay.
So I lived in more of like a suburban town in Jersey, so it wasn't like you needed
like Fort
it.
Smith.
It's more like a Fort Smith in Jersey.
Okay.
You know, people were strict, but not super strict with like masks and stuff. But the UK, I mean, you told me I was talking to Ursula when it was happening. They had like several lockdowns where it was like they like lifted the ban and then put it back on, and then lifted it and then put it back on. So it made
we had like 7.
Wasn't England like one of the first to like actually like we are shutting down?
Oh, it's actually giving me goosebumps thinking about it. I remember when at the time I was like working with this music agency and they got an email from someone on a group like that's like a European like kind of international group from Italy saying there's this COVID thing. I know people weren't taking it seriously. Like people saying, oh, it's come from China. Seriously, don't go out, don't go to events, like, because we thought the same and it's really bad here now. And I remember receiving that like 2 weeks before it got bad in England. It was weird. It was like a voice from the future kind of thing. And then we were kind of like, whoa. And then it did just hit. And we were the second country to get it pretty bad. But Italy is where it started, I think. Well, not started, but in Europe. When it came to Europe or the West.
I feel like America only took it seriously when the NBA got delayed. where there was like a basketball player who like touched a bunch of microphones, and then he was like, "Oh, COVID's not real," and then he got COVID, and then they shut the NBA down, and then everyone's like, "Wow, this is serious."
Yeah. No, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we had like 7. I didn't realize this. We were speaking, we realized, I was like, wow, yeah, we had like about 7 lockdowns over the course of like almost 2 years, like 18 months, you know? And that was pretty disruptive, obviously, for like business and
I couldn't imagine being a business and having to shut down every month or so, just like on a drop.
That's crazy.
You can't
We
plan
also
ahead.
have like the NHS, which is a government owned. Our healthcare is government owned, so we had to like log in through the app to like log into premises like businesses when you were there. So they tried to like
You had
monitor
to check
people
in
getting
wherever
COVID.
you were, and if someone got COVID in the same area as you, you would get
You would
notified.
get notified, and you'd have to
It
like
was wild.
shield or like bubble or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah,
but
so
when she
I
tells
think
you,
it was a
that's
different
crazy.
experience,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like you have to have it on your
Yeah.
phone. If like imagine like your healthcare was just on your phone and you were walking around, and if you had COVID and we had this interview and I went home, I'd get a notification on my phone that you're positive for COVID, and then I would have to isolate on my house
wow.
just because we were in the same area. Maybe even if you didn't give it to me, just because
I mean,
we were.
obviously, not everyone
here.
has phones, but you were encouraged to write your name and email if you
Right.
didn't have like the app.
Right.
So y'all was it the end of 22 or the top of 23 when you got married?
We got married in
23.
23. We got married February 3rd.
Okay.
23. Yeah.
Okay. And then from there, you kept cooking pieces in the back. Well, you say you did these pop-ups. I'm guessing that they all weren't just in the back of people's yard. Eventually it changed. So where did
Yeah.
it go from there?
So during the first few months of me like technically visiting before we got married, we were like looking into like where it could grow.
We were
And you
researching to
preach-
kind of open in the UK at first because we weren't sure what was happening.
Yeah, we honestly, again, like that's the thing with the open mind. We were like, well, maybe, you know, this could work well in the UK too, because you don't get as many like, you know, East Coast pizza guys
Yeah.
over there, even though there is a really good pizza scene actually in London, I can't lie. But we were like researching, and during that time, the bakery district, they offered you like a trailer.
So actually, like
there.
the story of that is like we did the pop-ups. We did 3 pop-ups just in my
In your
dad's
backyard, to
backyard.
friends and family.
To friends and
first.
family.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then me and Nurse were like,
How
you know,
could
like
we
it was
take
good, but
this
we were like,
further?
we can
Yeah.
actually probably grow this and maybe take it a little further. We actually got coffee one day at Fort Smith Coffee Co. And one of their employees was like super friendly. And I think we had talked to them a few times before that. But there was a blue trailer outside that they were using for snow cones during the winter. So we had walked up and asked them, like, does anyone use this? And we had gotten in touch with one of the, I think one of the Hannahs at bakery, but someone from the bakery district had reached out to us because we were kind of like, we can kind of do what we did on the pop-up, but do it in this trailer and have kind of a spot for it.
And they were like, honestly, responded really well. Like they were really gracious to us. Honestly, they offered us the trailer because it was in the winter too. It was like November by this point, November, December.
There wasn't much going on there.
Wasn't loads going on.
So we figured like it could kind of help both of us if we just kind of
Yeah.
popped up there.
So they offered that to us. And so we were operating, I guess, as a pop-up. You know, we were still a pop-up so that we just like had our ingredients. We brought it into this trailer, which was tiny, by the way. I don't know if you've seen the trailer. It's now the hot dog stand.
Oh, no way.
That was where it started.
the
Yeah.
You were in there?
So the door is
Yeah.
as big as my pizza paddle.
Yeah.
So I'd have to like kind of tilt it. Like I'd have to walk. I'd make it inside of the trailer. It would.
So the pizza oven wasn't in there. We had a backyard oven that we were using in his
And we
backyard.
had it on a cart
Yeah.
outside of the
On a cart
trailer.
outside.
But still the inside, there was no room. So it
Yeah.
would be like Ursula would be like ringing up like
I remember I called you Taz.
my nickname was Taz because like the amount of time I'd have to stretch the pizza inside, put it on the paddle, then walk it outside. But like I barely fit through the door. So I walk outside, have to throw it in the oven, put wood in the oven, watch it, take it out, and then run back in with the done pizza, open up the door, basically like, because sometimes I'd be busy. So I'd like almost like kick down the door and have to throw a pizza box around. But honestly, like this table is more space than like working space we had.
That's crazy.
So imagine like it's a 16-inch pizza. The door is probably 17 inches. He's stretched out the pizza with the ingredients inside the trailer. He puts it on the pizza pad or whatever.
Walks it outside.
And then he's like, has to use his foot to like knock the door down and like get this
open.
pizza through the door
gosh.
and then put it in the uni, which was cool because people like to see you cooking it
was
outside.
How long was that?
Close. We did that from November to January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Then
was just kind of helping you out. But
yeah, Urs was just helping me out at the point. It wasn't like a full-fledged thing, but then
it was enough. We did it, and it was enough to just. I mean, you were making so much DoorDash just from
I
that.
didn't have to do.
And then,
that was I didn't really have to do anything other than the pop up a few times a week. But then as we kind of kept growing, we'll go more into it. But like the community, like kind of really ran behind us at first with the pop ups. So we had taken it more serious, and someone had approached us who used to have a food truck in town and offered us a deal. And Ursi basically went extra full time with us.
Okay.
It basically was just good timing. Like he approached us, I think, around Christmas time.
Okay.
And just said, look, I've been trying to sell this pizza truck, which already was kitted out to make pizza. It was Neapolitan style, so it is a little different, and that the oven was more geared to that, but it worked. But he just came up and was like, look, I've been trying to sell this pizza truck. Do you just want to do it on a lease? Because he couldn't sell it.
Like a lease to own.
A lease to own.
yeah.
So we were kind of like, I think we could do that, even based off what we were doing on the pop-up.
Right.
We were like, I think we could commit to that, like every month, the payments. And then when we did the truck, obviously that was at the beginning of the year, but it was still doing relatively good. But by the time we got to like April, May, that's when it really kicked off. And then that summer, we had like an amazing summer.
Were y'all,
Yeah.
now maybe off, but were y'all ever in Northwest Arkansas with the truck at all?
Yeah, we did do.
Were we?
Oh, no, we haven't.
Okay.
No, we went.
It was
up to
all just
Paris
around here?
once.
Okay.
There's a couple of bloggers that have come down from Northwest to review the pizza. Because one of them, the Northwest Arkansas transplants,
Okay.
NWA transplants, one of them's from New York. So she traveled down to
Oh, yeah.
try it. And then there's another guy, what's his name? The Hungry Peddler, who came when we opened the restaurant. But we are actually in talks with the Ozark Beer Company.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're going to do our first Northwest gig soon, which would be
Oh,
we're
that'd be
really
cool.
excited about. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
a big part of us like not traveling. I mean, so with Ursula, like her marketing background, a big part of like the truck is from 1986, and it used to have to be jump started every time we did it. Like it would be like at least 40 minutes before we would get it running, and it would always break down. So moving around to events kind of was difficult. But at the time it was terrible, but Ursula basically reached out to like a bunch of people who were local in a bunch of different neighborhoods, like just like little events here. And we basically did like a little tour for like 3 or 4 weeks of just kind of going to different neighborhoods with the plan that she kind of had, because we had to find an issue for like the truck keeping like keep breaking down. So we thought if we just made it a place for people to come to see us, like if we make it to the spot where if we're at the bakery district or if we're at wherever 4 or 5 days a week, they know they can come get pickup from us and pre-orders. That way, when we went to all these different neighborhoods, even if we kept like 2 or 3 customers from each neighborhood we went to, that would be 2 or 3 from each neighborhood every day that would come to the truck.
Okay.
And it just stayed as like pretty consistent takeout business. We had, sorry.
And this was just still only you two at this point.
It was just us two, and then the
For the
summertime.
first 6 months,
Yeah.
it was just us.
and what
then
year was this that you got the truck? Is it 2024 yet?
2023.
Okay, 2023?
Yeah.
End of 2023?
January is when we officially
January
started getting it
23, we
out,
got
yeah.
the truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you mean like we were gearing the marketing up for people to call in?
So we were gearing the marketing
Yeah.
up for people to call in for pickup orders. So our big thing was like going to an event and trying to sell slices was great, but it was still a hustle.
Yeah.
Whereas if we just went to different neighborhoods and people would call to order in a pizza, they could still do that, but just drive 10 more minutes down to wherever we were parked up.
So we were really lucky in a way we didn't have to be reliant on the footfall. And I think it was kind of the pizza thing that helped with that, you know, like it being a carry out, a
Didn't need to be a heavy traffic
food.
area for us to still have a busy day.
Sometimes we would do events where we would just kind of want to help to show up and be part of like a community event. But we were like, well, you know, it's just good to be in a new neighborhood or area because we knew people would come as well and support us either way. So
you were just moving around town here doing all this. Okay.
Fanna Hills, Chaffee, Fort Smith, Greenwood,
Van
Buren. So,
and that was a big part of it as well. I think
I was the friendly neighborhood pizza man for a summer.
The friendly neighborhood. We kind of like the idea of going to neighborhoods and being involved in community events. Obviously, food trucks obviously do go to events, but we tried to really focus on the community aspect. And I think for us, it was great because being two people who weren't from here, it was a really great way for us to have a purpose and feel connected with people. And that quite quickly, you know, that and also we were always very transparent. Like when we would break down, there were times when we would break down and honestly be so stressful. Like I can't explain, like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you're going to a restaurant that's going to be stressful. And it is, but there's a lot of things I'd rather be doing in the restaurant, doing the volumes we're doing now.
Ursula and I would be doing
back
dough
in the food truck and having to like, you know, get up really early and then not know if the food truck's going to start or whether it's going to break down, having to like get up early in the morning. We did all the dough ourselves.
The thing is too, if we're like gearing up for an event that's pretty busy for Saturday and my food truck breaks down and we're prepped a lot, then, you know, that's kind of like a big loss on us if we can't be there. So it would be like if we broke down on a Saturday and we were supposed to do like a pretty big event, Ursi would kind of put it on Facebook and we'll go more, I guess, about the community, but the way that people would like kind of rally behind us.
Wait, did that happen where you would have a big event?
Well, we would break it. We would honestly break down. We've broken down at least like 10 times.
There was a period of time we broke down a lot. When we got the truck, we weren't so clued up on the engineering or that side of it of actually, because it's like, you know,
there's a lot more like rigging it together.
First of all, it's manual.
It's super modular.
It's a 4-speed manual and it only goes 50 miles an hour max speed.
Yeah.
So
and then
like,
we didn't realize till after a while the starter wasn't very good. So that was the big reason why it didn't start up.
The battery, it was
but
like
we weren't
the
really in a
alternator.
position to replace all of that. So when we did, it was a lot easier. But when those kind of things happened, so there was a time when we were supposed to do a big event, one of our bigger events at the weekend, it got cancelled. And then we tried to reschedule a new event so we could sell the produce. Because, you know, when you're a small business like that, that really matters. You know, you're doing a lot more hand to mouth. So we tried to reschedule an event and then the truck broke down and I just did a post and I'd always be really transparent with our customers because there was people honestly ringing us being like, you said you were going to be here, like, where are you? And things like that. And I just did a post and said, look, we're really gutted. Like, this is how it's been. Like, we got up early, crack of dawn to get to this event. It got rained off. We've got all this produce. We tried to reschedule and now our truck has broken down. And people were just so supportive and like
usually
they
followed
really
by a picture of me outside of the truck broken down. It would be like Ursula would have this big post and it would just be like me with a sad face outside of the truck on the side of the road and we'd just be like pretty open and be like,
I just tried to document. I think the nice thing of stepping from my profession in the world I was in where it's all so strategized and thought out and like you've got like a 3 to 6 month strategy all laid out.
And you can see it too, by the way. I looked at it and I was like, looks like an influencer runs this Instagram page. What's going on here?
Well, a real important thing and one thing that made it really enjoyable for me was trying to be really in the moment and try and not think too much about it.
That's the biggest. She'll like, because I'll be near her a lot on the truck and, you know, I'll be a lot of the main focus point on the truck content at first. And she would just like really, I mean, you can say this too, but like she would really appreciate it because it would really kind of just be like her and I hanging out and just kind of telling the story of how her and I kind of had our life out here, but really also like really enjoyed what we were doing and really enjoyed the people around. And
it was kind of like the beginning, at least. Now we're in the restaurant, it's definitely a bit more polished because I guess you have to be a little bit. And I was scared about that transition, honestly. But on the truck, it was a bit more like a blog and a little bit more rough and ready. And we still try and keep that now. But the way I would try and document it was really just from the heart, you know, like not trying to think, just be like, okay, this happened. let's tell the story. You know, it's important. And I was very aware as well, coming from somewhere where I'm from in the UK, in Bristol, it's like fiercely independent city where people really champion for small business. So it's quite culturally different. Not saying people don't, people do want to support small business, but there's a lot more chains and franchises. And I just wanted to be really open with the story as a small business, you know, those struggles, because people can see that success. But, you know, yeah, we're successful now, but it was like never easy, you know, like there was obviously always the challenges and things. And like, I think it's good to be open about that.
Well, something that's super cool that you did is a lot of businesses, there's like a lot of pride and ego behind being vulnerable.
Yeah.
But you use that as marketing material.
Not intentionally, I think.
I know,
yeah, but I know what you mean. It helped.
Well, the big part was being part of the food truck. I can only make so on the food truck, I can only make one pizza at a time. So we would have like 15-minute time slots. Whereas now it's just more free flowing. Like people can place orders. We'll give you a time limit, but you had to kind of like pre-order your pizza. And a lot of people would come early, but I mentioned how we didn't need a lot of foot traffic. Sometimes we would just be in a parking lot. So a lot of customers would come like 10 minutes early. So we like actually get to like really know a lot of our core customers. Like not even from a perspective of just like them coming in as customers, but like when they're in the food truck, some of them talk to us for half an hour once a week for a whole year. I would say like even like the regulars from the truck come to the restaurant, like 10% of our customers, I mean, probably more, are like people like we actually genuinely like know, like their kids' names, what's going on with them, like what they're doing, what vacation they're going on. And like that's been like one of the best parts for us is just like actually knowing them on a real level, because a lot of the restaurant too, you walk in, Ursula's usually up front. She'll be one of the first people greeting you. And then as you walk in, I'm behind the pizza bar. And before I was on the truck, but now everyone can come up to me and talk to me and ask me questions about pizza. And
that was a conscious decision.
and Ursa's doing a lot more like events. I'm sure we can go in, but we were doing like a kids pizza school where we like teach kids every week how to make pizza.
What?
And Ursa thought it would be great to like have like freshly made food. And you know, we make a lot of our ingredients are fresh and a lot of it is made from scratch. So to be able to like have a kid be able to do that and learn the process of it, like gives them a lot of pride in it too.
What were you doing in those schools?
We're doing them every Wednesday.
Oh, you do? This is now that you do them.
Yeah. We launched it honestly a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And the response was crazy. We didn't realize it would sell out so quickly, but we had 7 events, not loads of spaces. There was 10 spaces per event, but the event sold out in a day.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, okay.
So
and I felt bad because some people
kids.
didn't even get a chance to do it. So I went back to Vinnie and was like, how can we fit more? I don't think it's feasible for him to have 2 slots in a day because of like all the other things that are going on in the restaurant. So we were like, okay, can we squeeze 7 more kids into this event for each event? And we did. And then that filled up. So.
And this is at the restaurant?
It's at the restaurant on Wednesdays at 12. And we get nearly 20 kids come in. They learn how to like make pizza with the dough.
And the thing is too, like I'm pretty like goofy as far as like it goes as an adult. Like kids will give me like Pokemon cards. And at my like whole pizza station, I have a bunch of toys that like people have given me. So like a lot of the kids, the kids will come back with their family. And like we just had someone Saturday, like they were making pizza with us and they'll like joke around the whole time. They'll like throw flour. Like it'll be a lot of fun. And like
that's so cool.
But then they'll come back and then they'll be like, Vinnie, and I'll be like, yo, what's up? And then they just it just becomes like a lot more comfortable for us every single day to go into a place like that where it's like at least for me standing behind the pizza counter, like I get excited like which regulars are going to come in just to like just conversation too. It's just great. Like, cause the community has been such like a big part of us. So we just like having a spot. I mean, that was a big part of how Ursula kind of also wanted, Ursula did a lot of the decorating on the inside, but also wanted the feel to kind of be more family oriented, but also like anyone can come in.
Well, let's go back a little bit. When did the opportunity for the brick and mortar come up?
So you were in a food truck.
I wanted to go back to that point you were saying. Like, so there was a point, I think it was around this time last year, where we were getting so busy. Honestly, like we have never liked to do that, even with a restaurant. is like we got so busy to the point where we couldn't take on more capacity, and we had to be really explicit with our customers. So like Friday nights, we would step onto the truck. We already have like 6 tickets before we'd even
Urs would
open.
have to write on Friday morning. I'm like I'm actually serious. Like, you guys do have to place your pre-order or we will run out.
Because people would come up to the truck and we wouldn't be able to do it. So people would pre-order, and then it got to the point where the pre-orders would come in really early.
Yeah.
And we would pre-order like 15-minute slots between 4 and 8 until like we didn't have any more slots. So
we had
like,
gotten to an employee at that time too, just because we had been really busy. So we had an extra worker.
Yeah, just
So this is your first employee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Daniel.
And this
Daniel.
was what? When was this? This was
Probably 3 or 4 months in,
May?
maybe
Was it April or
maybe
May?
4 months into having the truck.
okay.
So
2023
around
in April.
Yeah.
April,
But then we had one
yeah.
of our other employees who worked night times,
Monty.
and he picked up his son. So we opened the truck at 4. But like, because he was picking up a son, like he came in sometimes around like 4:30.
And
But
we'd already be so...
at 4, like I would feel so bad for him because he came from another job, so he was hustling already. So like he would come onto the truck and look at the board, and there would be like pre-orders from 4 to 8 in 15-minute slots, all filled up already. And he'd walk in, there would be like 15 or 20 tickets, and I'm already going crazy. And he'd walk into like the most chaotic, because the food truck is very small still too.
Yeah.
So he would just walk into like it being completely busy. And honestly, I'd have people waiting for us to open at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then most of our pre-orders were getting filled up at night.
It just got really crazy between May and July. And that's when Joe Calderera from Taliano's approached us. It was 6 months in, wasn't it? July?
Yeah, I think it was
From when
June.
we got the truck.
It was June because
June? Yeah.
we were celebrating. Actually, no, it was
celebrated
March.
a year.
I think we celebrated a year of it last month. I think,
Yeah.
and
So he
maybe
approached
April,
us in June.
around April.
He
yeah.
approached us in June because it was last month we celebrated. It was a year ago.
It's still June this month.
Yeah, it's still June right now.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was
It's okay. I know you with your your England.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, I'm getting the months mixed up now. He approached us around May or June when, he could see that it was busy. He's, if you don't know much about Joe Calderera and their family, they're pretty well known as an Italian family who set up Taliano's 50 years ago.
Yeah, they've
His
had it
dad
longer
set
than
it
I've
up.
been alive. He owns
pretty,
the building that we're in now. It used to be
okay.
Emmy's German Cuisine.
So they're big in like real estate and things like.
No, he's from a restaurant background. His dad set up
He
with
actually lives in the house.
Jim Cadelli.
Yeah.
So what's Joe's dad's name? So the Caldereras and the Cadellis came together and founded Taliano's 50 years ago.
Okay.
And Joe, I think Joe's dad passed away a few years ago, and Joe took that on. But Joe was managing Emmy's, which is the German restaurant, which is the building we're in, which is just across the parking lot from Taliano's.
So yeah, they own Taliano's, but Joe and his family grew up in the house directly behind it. And then they were really close with the owners of the German place. But then when they were getting old, they had bought it from them. But then Joe had a big turnover. He had to make a decision because there was a big hailstorm and it took out the roof, and he actually had to close for a few months. And then had some kitchen turnover and really wanted to make a decision of what to do next. And
I think I remember Joe's got about 5 sisters or 6 sisters.
He kept sending his sisters to our food truck.
To the truck to get the pizza, and one of them introduced herself, and I remember saying to her, I was like, yeah, Vinnie came from because before that, Vinnie came from restaurants in New Jersey that were busy pizza places, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know if brick-and-mortar's for us, I was saying already explicitly, it's
she
going
didn't
to
know
be
it was
hard work.
Yeah, she was just it's hard work. We don't know if we want to go into a restaurant, and then
We
we
thought
get
of
a
maybe
text a week
a
later.
brick-and-mortar slice shop or something, but not a large-scale operation. We weren't sure if we were ready for that. But then anyway, Joe approached us. I think Talisha from downtown 464 got in touch, introduced us.
646?
646.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry Talisha.
It's that UK date thing again. Just
Oh my God.
It keeps happening.
He's gonna nail it in.
But Talisha had given Joe because Talisha's amazing, by the way. Talisha, she runs a lot of events downtown. Okay. She helped us. We were at the Levidamp. She's helped jumpstart our food truck before. And she actually got us in touch with Joe. And we were having those conversations.
For a while.
For a while, we were going back and forth with what we wanted to do because we weren't sure, again, kind of whether we were going back to the UK or what kind of scale we were really going to take it. But we were just getting to that point where, like, I like making pizza for everybody. So, like, to be able to like have to turn people down every week was kind of something that was getting frustrating because, like, I know everyone was saying it was a good problem to have, but for Ursula and I, like, it wasn't, just because telling people no every week, sometimes you never know if they call like 3 weeks in a row and there's not a slot, like that's going to get them frustrated. And like, I don't want to not serve them, but like I can only do so much. And it's hard to always translate that. And we were just at a point where it was like, we love doing this. We love the community. And like, we just really have to step up from what, like, just being in the truck together, I guess.
Yeah, we went back and forth a lot on, Joe proposed an idea, that we would come in as tenants to the Emmys building. It's morphed and changed a little bit since then. We have more of a partnership, but we were kind of a little bit scared on the investment, like just like the investment, like of our time and money, it being like a big scale up quite soon, because we'd only been going how long? Like a year? Well,
less
6 months when he'd approached us, less than a year.
Less than a year. So we went to the UK to also for a month just to kind of like lay low and kind of think about things, talk to her family, see what they think about it. A lot of them were really supportive. And we kind of decided on the trip that we were like, we knew we needed to scale up from the truck, but we were like, do we just do it more like
granular?
Yeah. Honestly, if we'd known then, it would have been what it is now. We probably wouldn't have done it because we wouldn't have done it. We're happy with how it is, but it would have scared us because like when we opened, this is the other thing we're dealing with now, is like, we didn't anticipate, we know Fort Smith and we knew that like it was going to be busy and you know how people are when it's a new opening. We honestly found the volumes really hard at the beginning. We had to employ 30% more employees in week 2. And as much like operational experience you had in your business and like my business background and stuff, it was really hard. Like we had to seat 300 people in a night on some nights.
I managed places in Jersey. Like I've worked in like really busy pizza places there, and I was working like 70 hours a week. So like I have like really close experience with like working places like this. And I had brought even my friend that I worked with in Jersey when I was 17. My friend Dante actually came down here. He came for our wedding too, to be my best man. But he came down here to help us open the restaurant. So he was here up until a month ago. He went back to Jersey, but he helped us open the restaurant and like kind of keep it like
just help us
as authentic
have that
New
extra,
Jersey style that it can be.
Get everything going, but you know, it's great now. After 3 months in, after we're a little bit more kind of like.
Wait, I forgot my point. That's what I was trying to say. So I was working at a place like 70 hours a week. I have experience like this, and Dante did too. We came from this, and still we weren't even ready, remotely even close to like what the capacity was when we opened. So like we were used to busy places. I was used to making pizza at a really large scale, but like this was like a completely different like animal, I guess.
Well, walk me through exactly what was happening on those opening days, and I guess the nights leading up to it.
So honestly, we did. So first of all, there was just like a lot more volume than we anticipated. So we didn't start with just dine-in. We started with dine-in, carry out, and delivery. And we do currently on like a Friday night, we're doing what we do on a really good night on the truck, just through carry out. And then we have like 100 capacity dine in, and, you know, we'll get like a few turnover, you know, during the evening, you know? So that's like hundreds of people. And I think the main struggles were honestly like, there was a lot of steep learning curves. There were some areas we didn't know that we had to fully facilitate with the team. So the big one was probably going from a 3-man team to a 30-man team, because we have like 2 kitchens. It's not just the pizza kitchen, which is the open kitchen that people see. We also have like the appetizers and the salads in the other kitchen. And our front of house manager wasn't as present as we hoped. So I had to fill that role.
Yeah. So the beginning weeks, like we were
yeah.
making like 200 or 300 pizzas like a day. So we would be making dough constantly. And then the front of house manager kind of dropped out basically. And Ursula had to facilitate that role. So we were just kind of focused on like doing pizzas and carry out. And then it turned into like 4 times the amount of pizza I thought I was going to be having to do. So like I was busy, stuck all day on the pizza line. And then Ursula had to worry about scheduling all the questions,
stuff,
all the POS.
I wasn't ready for,
and
honestly.
the opening stages too.
So as an owner, obviously we knew the ins and outs, but there's things, lots of intricate things you have to do on the system, obviously, which the front of house manager was going to do. Plus all the HR of honestly having a team that big. That is honestly one of the
so you
struggles,
really went from 3 people in the truck to 30 people.
We went from, we had 3 people on the truck and we were honestly only planning to have a few more people.
Oh my gosh.
But
and then
we had
like
to hire
morning and
more
night
people.
was super busy and we knew it wasn't realistic ourselves to do it. We were thinking like, oh, we'll have like a 20% increase like from the food truck just because, and
but we're really lucky. I think like 90% of our opening team are with us today, and like they honestly feel like family. Because I think one thing when
every week.
like when you work hospitality, people don't understand. Like, I don't want to just compare parallels to things I haven't worked in, but I've heard people compare it to other things. Like it can be really full on. Like there was. I feel like it really made me understand the true sense of blood, sweat, and tears. Because honestly, the kitchen all had like wounds up their arms from like just being really busy. Like there was multiple people that broke down and cried, you know, like it's just like the reality of running like a business. And also it wasn't a bad thing. It was just, we were a small business and it put a lot of strain on us. And that is just a natural thing. But we had to really try and communicate it our best way and say, you know, we're not going to have it right at the beginning as long as we're learning from it. And there are some things that we haven't got fully like done yet. But I think the main thing is like, we didn't have the money or backing to have like Bibles, you know, of like how the policies and all the structures work and like have team training for 2 months. Like we had to like run it out like organically to a certain extent, and that's
we made
kind
on
of
the
part,
food truck, basically
part
trying
of,
to
like,
carry it over, and then while we
being
were
a
trying to
small
open, it
business,
became
we put,
like 3 times the expense that we thought it was initially going into it. So like the months leading up were definitely difficult.
we didn't have like big loans.
But with the volume, surely that's been able to like kind of help some with that or even diminish it maybe.
Yeah, I mean, everything has been great so far as like business wise and like how things have been flowing for us. Like we can't be more grateful. It was just at the time, it was just we were so focused on trying to make this happen, and it was bigger than we had thought, and we didn't have the money initially. Like we didn't have backing from people, so we were just taking what we had earned from the food truck and basically just like going off of faith and just putting every single thing we had in from the whole year basically into the restaurant to take that risk. And
I think that's something that's really important to us is like, you know, we wanted to have a professional looking brand, and we did what we could within the budget to make the space look really good. Joe really did help us get like some of the structural and inside parts of the building looking really great, like the pizza bar. That wall on the back I did myself, and it cost me $200.
Okay.
yeah, she did it all. She was
like,
That's really cool.
although it was important, you know, I know it's a great space when people walk in, like we really wanted to kind of bring a space that felt welcoming was a key thing, and like was kind of universal in like things that people enjoy together.
Yeah.
But we don't want people to be blinded by the fact that it is a nice space and we've got a nice brand. Therefore, we should be like a fully oiled, you know, business.
Corporate machine.
we still want to be a real company the same way that we
Yeah.
were when we were on the food truck. To be honest, like our team, like I say it all the time, you spend more time with like your team in a restaurant than you do with your family.
Yes.
You spend sometimes 50 hours a week with these people. Like they become, at least the people that I work with in the pizza kitchen, like my first few employees, Daniel and Monty, they were our first employees on the food truck, and now they work with me like 50 hours a week. Like I look at them as like my brothers. Like they helped us so much grow into what we are. And it's just like everyone who helps us in the pizza kitchen now. Like I have a bunch of kids who are like 21, 18, like really trying their hardest to really just like be part of our brand together, just because they see how much work we put in. And a lot of it is just like, I know it's cliche saying it's like a family, but like we really like we hang out outside of work. We have barbecues together. We have like a themed dress up day every week. Every time we come in, we all like greet each other. We bring breakfast in for each other, get coffee for each other. And almost text each other too much, like outside of work. But like it's always just like we might get team tattoos of like all pizza slices. Like it really just it makes it that much like easier every single day to like do what we're doing, because it is tough. And there is a lot of times where like Ursula and I are like, there's a lot of work, but
there's
then
definitely times you got to step out and sit on that bench outside the back of the kitchen and take a few breathers. We've had people have panic attacks. We've had people have meltdowns. You sit there and you're stressed,
but then it just takes like one employee to have like a super good attitude and be like, hey, what's up, guys? To be like, oh, all right. It's like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So like,
sounds like parenting, honestly. Like
it feels like parenting.
Yeah. I can be in like a kind of like a bicker with my wife, and my son comes in and smiles, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right. This is sweet.
I honestly don't think we could have got through it with the team.
Without the team.
They've been
Well, the community is also what I was curious about. How has the community changed since you went from went from the truck to the shop?
Yeah. A big part too, I forgot to mention, like with the truck breaking down, just like the small point is like if we broke down on a Saturday and we mentioned that and we opened on a Sunday, that Sunday I would sell out easily of everything. If we had our electric cord stolen from us like twice, and someone who was an electrician offered to make one for us, someone drove 2 hours to get an old RV cord in Oklahoma to drive it back to us, someone offered to Venmo it to us. We obviously didn't take it, but like someone offered us like $500 to buy a new electric cord. And it was just like, just the gestures alone of all of that.
That's awesome.
That happened like not even just with the cord, but things like that with the cord the whole time we were opening the truck. And it was almost like overwhelming to the point where like we knew we had to stay here and kind of put something back into.
Well, there's something
that was a big part. Yeah.
There's something like different about like a business who isn't like a corporate entity, right? Like whenever they're like you can look and visually see that they're a small business, food truck, or any type of truck of any sorts, and you can get behind that more. Right. So that's why I was asking. I'm curious about what it looks like when you go into the nice, pretty space. Is the community like they're sellouts,
So I think we got really excited about having a space to welcome those customers or people that had supported us all this time. And me and Vinnie, we both love hosting. We kind of like, we're those kind of people, we like to welcome people and host. So that was a big part of the space when we built it, is like we wanted it first and foremost to feel welcoming and like a mum and pop place. We wanted people to walk in and feel like either like nostalgia and like even like the wall. I chose things that were like universal things that whether you're like 3-year-old or whether you're 70, there's something on the wall you're going to see and you're going to like. And I think that's like a key part of what we wanted to forge in Fort Smith, was like a space that anyone really could come into and feel welcomed and at home. Which is like a big vision, but like obviously we can try and do
also like a lot of it because I mean I'll always wear my gold chain and listen to rap music. I'll never sell out. So a lot of like our customers, honestly, like we sculpted kind of the concept of it, obviously like with what our like goal was and like our dream for that, but they helped us like mold it into what we think it also should be for everyone
like the
around.
Community did?
Yeah, I mean, like the longest time there were people telling us, oh, like you need to open a place. Like a lot of just people wanting us to be more than the food truck that we were in.
So you weren't opening with zero. Like you were opening with this big mind of ideas that you've talked to like customers to about why they're waiting on our pizza for 6 months or a year.
Well, we came in because the restaurant kind of delayed a little bit. So Ursula, when she kept posting online, like our customer base that we already had, like we started with a huge base already. And those people who came from us for the truck, it makes it that much like better when they come in.
Yeah. I mean, I would really say that the restaurant itself, from the community to the team and everyone that walks through the door, have had a big part to play in it. So not so much that like we asked the customers and how to shape the space, but we knew that we wanted to be more family orientated and maybe facilitate more seniors, because they were people that liked coming to the truck but maybe weren't able to.
So that was in like the families that like, you know, when they come to our truck, they're like, oh, I wish I had somewhere to sit down for this, or like, you know.
Yeah. And then the other thing was that we honestly wouldn't have got opened if it wasn't for certain people in the community. So there was one thing we didn't talk about, which was the pizza oven. That was a huge thing we were completely over our heads with. So the oven is like 3,000 pounds in weight. It's like a double stacked Marcel, which is like a New York brick
So I got
oven.
it shipped in from New York. I basically
Wait, can we go back just a second? I had a question I wanted to ask before we talk about the oven, because I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
So I guess the question I wanted to ask is, one, if you don't mind sharing financials, how much did y'all have saved up from the truck to go into this new project?
It's hard to say, because honestly, we planned to open in November 23 and we opened in March 24. And we worked on the truck till the week before we opened. So everything we made through the truck, we were putting into it. We honestly didn't have like a lot of savings. We probably had like...
We probably had to spend like...
Yeah.
Probably had to spend like 40,000 to go into the restaurant.
Well, and the reason why I asked that is because, I mean, I've been in the restaurant industry quite a bit, and I've even went in from like building from ground up. Ovens are that much or more.
So
can be.
So the oven that I got on a
We were lucky
a very good deal. I am from Jersey, so like I did know like a lot of retailers who had ovens just from people I knew from a while ago. But the oven I got from new was like almost $60,000.
Yeah.
It's 16,000 we got it for.
Yeah, and I got it for like almost like around 20.
Oh my God.
With the shipping from Florida.
With the shipping.
Yeah.
They shipped it from Jersey to Florida, and then I picked it up from Florida to here.
What we didn't know is how far that it gets shipped to, which is basically your front door. So that's the bit that we had problems with.
So we
couldn't find a specialist to help us move it into the building.
No one uses an oven over there, so it's a brick oven I used, and that's like
how big is it? Did you say
I could fit 8 pizzas in it, but
it's
weighed
a 3-tier oven.
It weighed 3,000 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a brick oven. So it's brick lined on the inside, and the bottom is like a custom stone. So like it's kind of like if you're in Jersey and you have like a Marcel oven, like it impresses people, but like that was the oven I used my whole life. So I brought that over, and it actually, I didn't have a great plan because they didn't tell me really when it was getting shipped, but they dropped it off. If you can see it, it's huge. So to think of that deconstructed in 3 pieces and how it'll actually fit inside of a door is crazy. We had to get 3 different people to help us. It actually took like half of the town to kind of like help us get our pizza oven in. They took like
the founder of
one of the owners of
Pasta Grill helped us, and he's got 2 food businesses already, and he spent 2 whole days with another guy, a laborer, is it Mark? Who came in, and basically Mark had the equipment and he had fitted his own kitchens before. So he kind of had the know-how and research, and between those 2, they basically did us a solid and did that for
They
2
used like
days.
a car engine or like how you lift a car engine up, but they like had like a cranking crane and put one piece of the oven dangling in the air, one on the ground, and slotted a piece in and then dropped it all in, and it was crazy.
Wow.
But, and
not just them, we had so many other people like offer and help us get things over the line.
Speaking of community too, the only thing that they wanted in return was some pizza.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they spent
they
2
literally
days
just did it
doing
out
a
of the
job that like
kindness of
I
their
honestly wouldn't even know how much would cost if I had like an actual professional come in. And
That's
just
crazy.
because they wanted
That's
to help
awesome.
out another small business in town, they just
And that's just
And they
one
come
of
in all the
many
time.
examples,
Yeah.
So
honestly.
to answer your question, the community rallied to help support you going in. There
almost
wasn't
at
really
every chance we could.
And that's why I was so busy when you opened, because people were like, we've been waiting for this.
It's like a
I think
community
so,
project,
yeah.
basically. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
And we did push
yeah.
back the launch date a lot, so maybe that
Okay.
had something to play with it. But yeah, people definitely did show up and support, and yeah.
Do people ever come in and you kind of hear them, either they say it to you directly or you hear them in conversation say, "Oh, this is so much better than whatever other stone cooked pizza company that's like Mod Bar Pizza or like I'm trying to think of the other ones that are around."
What
We
the
have
other-
very passionate fans
Okay.
that come in. So like
a lot of East Coast.
the
fans
style
as
that I'll
well.
do, like I said, I've been making pizza. I made it in Jersey for 10 years. Everything that I had, I special order into the restaurant now, everything I used to have in Jersey. So like the cheese I used to get, the tomatoes we grind in house. I get like special ordered tomatoes. We have the old cheese. A lot of it is just like the quality of it is
We
the
shred
exact
the
same
cheese
thing.
ourselves.
We shred our cheese ourselves. We grind our own tomatoes. Everything that we have is fresh. So I
Everything
just
is from scratch.
took
even.
everything over from there.
What's your top seller?
Honestly, a plainer margarita. The
Well,
Fort Smith is
in
also
the
a big one
restaurant. It's
now.
the Fort Smith.
Oh, you made a Fort Smith pizza.
We
It was,
didn't.
It was we put a vote out to the people.
Oh, they make
create
their own
Yeah, we
pizza.
said we
Oh,
want a
that's so
Fort Smith.
cool.
What do you want?
Okay, and what is it?
A meat lovers with the garlic butter crust
meat
and
lovers.
hot or garlic honey drizzle, herb honey.
Herb honey drizzle. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
But it's like
cool.
salami, sausage,
Salami,
pepperoni,
sausage, pepperoni, and
and bacon.
Okay. Okay, y'all have me one here today. What did you bring?
I brought you a classic plain pizza.
Okay.
That's
Because
Vinnie's
my thing
favorite.
is like I feel like we know the reps who have the cheese now, and we know that we special order it, and we're one of the only people who do what we do. So I try to just do the plain pizza to try to give you a sample of like what it is, because we believe in like the quality ingredients and like how I make it is better than obviously a quantity or just piling things up top. So.
Please
So
come in for a fresh slice though, because that was made nearly
No,
2
but
hours
I
ago.
Yeah,
love
disclaimer,
cold
but cold
pizza.
pizza's great.
And
It
I
has
know
to be a
people are
good
with. The only thing I would add is, and I'm not adding it because I want to taste the actual pizza, is ranch and cold pizza.
I was
Yeah.
gonna bring you some dips.
No, but
as
I don't
well,
want
you
to
know?
try it. I want to try the
can't.
actual
Yeah.
pizza first. Okay,
Yeah,
this is my first time.
That's why
So-
he did plain, which is just cheese.
I would say it's
'Cause then
also
you can
usually
try
a little bit
cheese.
crispier. We weren't open today, so I had to only have my oven on
Blast
for
the
an
oven
hour
on.
instead of 2.
So the base would usually be a little bit.
Base would
crispier.
usually be a little bit crispier. So
Yeah, this is really good.
thank you.
I love it cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like hot.
I eat some
I don't
cold,
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really good.
We
Thank
do
you.
sell by the slice too. So if you ever want to come by for like just a slice,
Our favorite pizza, though, if people do want to try, is honestly the half and half pepperoni, half margarita.
Yeah.
Because they're like the original pies are really like true to the New York style, which is really like not very many toppings.
Yeah.
Because the more toppings you put on a New York style, like it's supposed to be stretched out and thin. So if you think about it like with a Supreme and you've got lots of meat and then lots of like vegetables that kind of like water comes out when it's cooked, it's not going to be that like crispy, like New York style slice. So we
I like
would
this one
suggest,
because it's not like super
yeah.
like crunchy, and the cheese doesn't taste fake.
Yeah.
Like there's some
Yeah.
pieces I have that and the cheese it tastes fake and it doesn't
Yeah.
taste that good.
a lot of
And the
like,
seasoning's good too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bit of oregano.
Okay.
Wait, what was it? Your
oregano.
Italian
Yeah.
like?
No,
boss
my
used
old
to
boss
scream at
used to
you?
yell, "It's not a pizza without oregano." So if there wasn't oregano on it, I'd be screamed at. The big part is like the crust.
You
like
tell the kids that in the pizza school.
Yeah, the kids in the pizza school do the.
if they want to, they don't have to put herbs.
Yeah, they put oregano on it, but they get scared because it's green stuff on pizza. Yeah, of course, so
Yeah.
it's optional.
It can't be optional anymore.
No, it's not. Yeah, if they want me to get my gold chain out and start yelling at them like I'm an Italian man, I could do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you say you listen to rap. I haven't even asked anyone about this yet.
Yeah.
But Drake or Kendrick?
All right, so
Oh
can I,
my
all right,
God,
so-
he's been playing the Kendrick
let me tell you
disc
something.
every
So
single
I grew
day.
up in New Jersey. Obviously, New York is the birthplace of rap music. I consider myself, even though I'm 26, like a little bit of a historian. I only listen to rap music. That's like really all I listened to growing up. I'm 26 now. When
So
I
basically,
was-
I hear you saying Kendrick.
So when I was in 8th grade, before Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, like
Okay.
when he was still dropping mixtapes, I was a pretty big Kendrick fan. So like ninth grade, I had like a Good Kid, Mad City beanie. Like I had like a Black Hippie Crew t-shirt. Like I was all into Kendrick. And obviously a lot of old school 90s like New York rap. Like Nas and Rakim are my favorite rappers.
Okay.
So naturally, obviously it's Kendrick.
Also, just to add to that, when he came over to the UK the second
saw
time,
Kendrick, yeah.
I took him to Glastonbury. I was doing my TV wall,
Oh,
and
what?
Kendrick was playing.
So I got to go to
he's seen
Glastonbury for
Kendrick
free,
live.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Sick.
that's another. Which
So
was, that
obviously
was cool to
Kendrick,
do.
my graduation, like I know this is kind of corny, but when I graduated high school, I had To Pimp a Butterfly on my graduation cap, and I graduated in 2016. So it was like, we gonna be all right, but you could kind of write 16 and all right. So that was my
that's cool.
graduation.
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
cool.
definitely
Okay.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Okay. Sell out. I like Drake.
Be like, Drake.
Come on.
It's always going to be a divide.
How's that
It's always
sellout? I listened before he dropped an album.
Okay. Fair. I can't even get mad. Like you had a very good like, oh yeah, I've known him from the beginning.
I liked Drake back when he used to do the singing like
Yeah.
in 09.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
Whatever.
Forever, like Miss Me. Like
Yeah.
that's Drake I'll listen to, but
What type of music do y'all play in a restaurant now?
disco, a lot of like R&B.
a lot of like roots music, honestly, like funk, soul. We play a bit of lovers rock as well because like I'm from Bristol and I grew up near London, so like I don't know, that kind of music's like
Okay.
a lot bigger, like it's a lot more in the London and British culture and
Yeah.
music than it is feel like it is here. So because sometimes people come in, they're like, oh, like, is there a lot of that in Australia? I'm like, well, no, I'm from England. But,
Basically a
but yeah,
lot
we
of
play a lot
music
of
that
different
like
stuff,
rap
Yeah.
samples, basically.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a lot of like old blues. And then Saturday nights we have like a disco night.
Sometimes play a bit of rock and roll, bit of blues, bit of, yeah.
Mid
many
2000s
times?
Ashanti usually if we want
Oh,
to get
yeah,
the
90s
okay.
R&B.
Me and You by
yeah.
Cassie. We'll get the
Yeah.
morning
that
going.
kind of
You know what I mean?
How many people have asked you to say water?
Oh, okay. It's not just water. It's
what a
bottle
bottle?
of water.
Or if you just say water bottle.
I've
What a bottle?
so I have, although I don't speak with an accent, at least when I speak to my British friends, no one's like said anything yet, but I do say basil, I say tomato, and I say water just to soften it.
And y'all sometimes.
Because otherwise it's
Yeah.
like water. And
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
it's just so, I don't know, it feels almost now I'm here like it's too much. So,
Oh my
It's
god.
funny because you
it's like
are
my hybrid.
you are a
accent.
proper lady. I would never say this, but sometimes she'll say things that aren't proper. But the way that her accent comes out, people will think it is just, and then she'll just say it in like such an elegant way, and it'll just be so funny.
Yeah, the other day the whole pizza kitchen were laughing at me, but I probably shouldn't say what.
She shouldn't say it, but she cursed, and like the way that she said it, it sounded so proper and matter of fact.
I think it's
Yeah.
a scientific. There's some sort of fact I saw that apparently with a British accent you sound more convincing to Americans.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not necessarily that we are.
Yeah, it doesn't, people
work,
just respond like, maybe I am. Like, yeah, you're right.
I've had a few angry customers where sometimes my servers will joke and then be like, I think you need to go over there with the accent. Like, and they'll start talking and I'll say, oh, you know, I'm really sorry. And like some of the team would be like, yeah, no, she was really mad. And I'll go over and I'll be like, I'm really sorry. And then she'll just stop and be like, where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think it's so
She'll have the soft,
Now-
sweet like English voice, and then she'll have her yelling New Jersey husband angry at the pizza station right behind her.
Now they know
sometimes.
your secret power.
No, I shouldn't have said. I should have kept that one in the
She'd be like,
bag.
"Oh, I'm so sorry," talking to them at the table, but like 6 feet away, I'm at the pizza station, visibly being from New Jersey.
I think we do come across a little bit more blunt as well sometimes. So that is something I'm mindful of.
We don't want to
Yeah.
like not
Well, I feel
fake
like-
who we are as people, but we want to be like very real to like our employees and to our customers to make
Isn't
them
New
feel
Jersey
that way.
kind of like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very like
blunt.
blunt. Yeah.
Yeah, very blunt.
See, like I'm mild here, and the thing is like, if there was like a real New Jerseyan, like really like
Yeah,
harsh,
some of the
like
things
they
he
would be
told me.
way more harsh with like
Some of
Yeah.
the things I don't know, you probably don't want to say on
what
the
my
podcast.
nan or my grandpa.
No, some of like your old bosses, this kind of things. they
Oh,
used to
my
say
old
to
boss.
you.
Yeah, my thing is like if you worked in a New Jersey kitchen and worked for my old Italian boss, like if HR was a thing, then every single violation would probably be there. It would
for
be
sure.
like shouting every single second. It would just be like, so like I'm the most tame version of it, and I feel like I'm very blunt sometimes here. But
Well, do you feel like the only reason why I say that is because from movies? Do you feel like movies kind of paint that more
a little
accurately?
bit.
Yeah,
I just don't like, in a way, like I just don't feel like wasting anyone's time.
yeah.
If I like I'm upset in the moment, like I wouldn't rather it carry over to anything else or like let something go further. It's like I kind of want to let you know as a person, like that was something that like makes me feel upset. That way I don't have like a bad mood or anything the rest of the day. I feel like it would be nice to kind of just be real and be like, you know.
It's definitely a cultural thing as well, like, because I wouldn't say like Londoners are maybe seen to be like that, but there's more cultural similarities, I think, from where I'm from and he's from than when we're here sometimes, and we'll share that. Like, you know, like just like the driving style. Like it's like
In Jersey, if you're driving like
yeah.
85 miles an hour in the left lane, like you're still going to be passed by someone going 10 miles an hour faster than you. Whereas like
Sounds like
sometimes-
Texas,
Yeah.
which you know a lot
Yeah.
about, right? Because you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like think of like
Exactly.
if you're in Dallas in the 5 lanes, just think of like that type of driving, but with 3 lanes and sometimes 2, and everyone going around like 90 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
No matter how fast you're going, someone's going to try to pass you. Whereas like, not to complain about here, but sometimes like if I'm behind someone and we're oncoming and their car will go, there'll be like a hard 10-second pause before they'll take their left-hand turn.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Have y'all had to really dial it back when it comes to employees, or did you have like a moment where you were like, okay, I was a little bit too blunt?
All the time with me, just because again, I want to be open with my employees. Like not that I'm a young business owner, but we're still new into learning all of this. I've worked in places before, but like I want them to know, like I'm going to be honest with them. Like I am going to make mistakes too. There are times like someone will make a mistake a few times, and like I will be blunt. I'll say some things need to be done, but I'll also like teach them how to do it in the right way. And then if I ever am upset, like, I mean, like no one who's in the pizza kitchen has left. We all spend again like 50 hours a week together. And we all love working with each other, but like again, like brothers fight with each other. So like it's that type of thing where it's like in the moment it might happen, but like it's still like brush off real quick. We're cool. Like
I think like
I am blunt, but yeah, you know, it
there
does,
are people that have come and gone, obviously, naturally, but you know, I think our 2 original employees from over a year ago are still with us, and you know, us being in I don't want to say aluminum.
aluminum.
That's another one. An aluminium box,
The
basically,
food
being
truck was
our
like
food
100,
truck.
120
We're 110 degrees, and sometimes there'll be like
Yeah.
4 of us in there for hours on end, like shoulder to shoulder, and they're still with us. And like a lot of
One of
our
them
like
just got a pizza slice
full-time
tattoo
opening
today.
team are
Oh,
all with
really?
us. Yeah. So you know,
Daniel
I think
got
that's
a pizza
testament.
tattoo today too. So, yeah.
That's so cool.
You can get a little fiery sometimes. So,
Yeah, I do, but, like, you know,
then he'll.
it's just 'cause they know how
afterwards
much we
he'll
care.
explain why, and he'll be like, you know, and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes we're working in a really highly stressful environment.
I'm never gonna
so-
get mad to a point where it's like I'm really unreasonable, and then I'll always like tell them, like, be honest and be like, yeah, I'm really stressed, like whatever it is, and just be open about it, and they'll understand most of the time, because Ursula and I lead by example a lot. Like Ursula, she was up front for the longest time, but she's in the pizza kitchen with me now Friday and Saturday, because that's how we really had to start the business. But I'm still the main pizza guy.
It's
I
funny
make the
'cause-
main bulk of pizzas. So it's basically like I'm going to lead by example. I'm not going to make anyone do anything that I haven't already done and can do. So it's like when people see how much I'm doing and I'm stressed, it usually is justifiable and they understand. They're like,
We're
oh,
pretty-
there's a lot going on. We're the owners
We're
and we're
pretty
there.
hands-on for owners
most,
as
like-
well. We're there
Yeah.
like almost like morning till night.
For
Like
the
we're
first-
stepping away a
Are
bit
you?
now.
Have y'all got a front house manager or whatever you said? Has that person been
Yeah.
replaced since then yet?
Yeah, so more recently,
Yeah, we've had
Bree has
other
stepped
people step
in
up
as, like,
that
a
were like,
supervisor
yeah.
who's kind of basically taking a lot of the front of house.
Yeah, we had one
duties.
of our like main servers kind of go into a supervisor. A lot of it is like too like a manager is a great title to have, but when we have people that are really close like we are, a lot of people are accountable. Where like if I'm messing up, like the person who's 18 on the pizza line could be like, "Hey, Vinny, you got to like clean up the cheese, whatever," and I'm going to take that anyway. And like if we all just like we know if we're all here together, we all kind of have to work as a team and like as a machine. So like
I mean, not like a
Everyone's
cliche
manager
word, but like a
themselves.
family.
Yeah.
Like you're actually in the kitchen cooking as a family together.
It's like running, I like comparing it to running a ship. It's like you have the front, the back, and then like, I don't know what the terminology is, but it's almost like there's the front of house, there's 2 kitchens, and then there's like, you know, all the other things that happen behind the scenes. Like, you know, there's buses and servers. And like, there's a lot of communication that has to go between all of that. And you only realize when you're in that kind of operation, if one person's out, that whole machine can like, you know, there will be some days, unfortunately, like 3 people might have to call out. And like, that can just make the kind of ship like this, you know? Like, so
In that, though, everyone
everyone's
knows that we
crucial
do
part,
also
like-
rely on them in the way where like they feel important to the restaurant. Like, you know, they are a big piece where it's like, you know, it will be detrimental. Like if someone doesn't want to show up because we do all really rely on each other to make that go. We have obviously had some turnover where we've had to adjust, but like the main core of our people really just like are really good at adapting and kind of learning with us because we are open, just seeing like the struggles and just it makes them want to work a little bit harder too. Especially like us being a mom and pop place and growing in the time that we did, you know, like I have 3 people under the age of 21 that want to work 50 hours a week and try as hard as they can because they see us growing and they want to like help us. And
they'll call him when we step out on some nights and like they really care, like they want us to come back and be proud, like they can keep it
like they're
running
doing little
and
things like
that's
cleaning
so
dough
nice in a
machines.
way.
Yeah,
Like, they're
that's
like, we got
sweet.
you.
Yeah.
And they'll like ring him and be like, how do you clean the
they're like, yeah,
dough
how do you
machine again?
scrub
I'm
the
like-
dough machine clean? I'm like, oh, all right, yeah.
like
Like,
that really, and you were like making a joke, being like, "Oh,
I'm like, what are you guys
what?"
plotting against me? I'm like, you guys are trying to be. They're like, yeah, we clean
They
this
really
for you.
care.
Yeah,
They honestly really can.
but they take pride because they see that we're real people too, and we're honest and open with them. They tell me like if they're having a rough day with like their girlfriend or their kids, they're gonna complain to me about it, and like we're gonna talk. We're gonna stand next to each other for 10 hours. You can offload on me if you want. Like we're gonna talk all day
Papa
anyway.
Vinnie steps in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I make a joke because they're all younger and like I know I'm still pretty young.
but we
So I'll
do-
come up
we
and I'll be
are.
like, Papa's here every time
Yeah.
I walk in and
We
they're
are pretty
stressed.
flexible employers as well for that. Like one of our team members, she's a single mom. She brings her kids in on Friday, and there's another Monty who's been with us for a while. He leaves.
He'll break out
like,
every
in
day to
between
pick
the break
his
to
son
pick
up.
his son up.
Every
And,
other Saturday
you know,
he'll get
it's
off.
kind of like still having procedures, but if you can still be flexible and make that work, and you know, it works both ways.
Because one of the kids that works for me, he has his kids every other week, but he worked for me like nonstop the past 3 weeks, and he has his kids, and I'm like, just send me the schedule you want to work this week around your kids, and we'll fit it around there.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's like little things like that. Like he just worked 3 weeks in a row for me. He can pick what he wants to work this week. We have enough people, we can make it work around.
And then they fill in when you might need it last minute too. So
Like honestly,
Yeah.
like they gave me like 2 days off last week. Like I got 2 nights off. Like I got to leave at 4 on Tuesday and Wednesday, and like
that was really nice.
that was a lot. So
What makes y'all excited for the future?
I guess the growth that we've had already, and just like Ursa and I, since we met, we just kind of like blindly go with whatever feels right in the moment, and like kind of like whatever energy is really gravitating towards us. Really just exciting.
I feel like we just feel excited that we could build our lives because like before we came here, Arkansas is honestly, people ask us a lot like, how do you find Arkansas? But like for us, it's been perfect because it's been like a place that we could really like thrive, and like coming
Reset.
from a major city, and we're both pretty ADHD, constantly distracted by things. Like I don't know how I lived the life I did before. Honestly, I would like work so hard, I would play so hard, and I don't think I even had time to figure out that I was like probably like burnt out. Whereas here, I feel like a lot more in tune to myself because even if I'm working really hard during the week, I can come home and just do all the things that fill my cup up again. And that's kind of my life. And I enjoy that, honestly. And I think having like all the nature around, like when we have time, we'll just go out and like explore a little bit or like find something new, but we're not always super distracted and having to do or join in with things.
I just like chilling at home a lot.
we're home.
Yeah.
based,
Very chill person. So like all my activities I like doing are just like playing video games and chilling in my room. So a lot of it is just like I don't need a crazy amount of distractions, and a lot of this is just like I've been able to surround myself with like again, I saw one of my employees yesterday. We're not open and we hung out for a little bit. Like I have a lot of great people around me. I get to like have a restaurant with my wife. We're kind of isolated where we kind of had to build it from nothing and be really proud of that.
Just focused,
you know,
isn't it? I feel we just feel grateful for like what we
grateful
have right
doing
now.
this in a spot where we were both kind of foreign to and just really trusting in like ourselves to be able to make it work, and then having like our energy bounce off to some of the people around, and then they're part of our family too, basically. And just like, yeah, all the energy we put in just coming out times 10, it feels like. I'm just excited about just, I guess, naturally going in the future. We have a lot of people who are like, have become really close to us in the past month or two. So
Yeah, we'd like to we've talked about or thrown it around having another Vinnie's maybe in another state.
yeah.
Well,
like
why wouldn't you go up to Northwest Arkansas first before you went out of state?
Yeah, so that was one thought. Maybe it would be nice to have the truck out in Northwest, at least for the beginning, because we think it would be popular there. And then the other thought was like not far away, but like Dallas could be cool as another option. And then maybe one day in the UK as well, honestly. But like there's some ideas.
If you asked the same question though, like when we started the pop-up, we probably wouldn't have guessed this. And when we had the trailer, we probably wouldn't have guessed the truck. And then when we had the truck, wouldn't have guessed the restaurant. So, I mean, a lot can happen just because we only moved here like less than 2 years ago. So we've only been really open as a business for like a year and a half. So as far as like where it's going to take us and where we see it, it's just like not in a corny or cliche way, but like it can really just take us anywhere. Like a lot can happen. We have a lot of people who put in a lot of energy and effort, and we saw how quick we grew with just the two of us putting that energy in. And now we have, it feels like a lot of people are really trying to contribute for that. So it's just really exciting because like honestly anything could happen now, just because this is this is honestly like what maybe my best case scenario would have felt like as far as like my day to day.
You're
like,
able
I'm
to live a
extremely
life
grateful for that.
you want to live.
You know,
Yeah, that's really cool.
a life better than I thought that I could have lived before. Like when I was living in New Jersey and like in the everyday life there. Like if I just had like a glimpse of like what our everyday life is here, like like I am very grateful for that.
What would y'all say to other people who are younger in age who are hesitant to follow their dreams like you guys did with the food truck and now the restaurant?
One thing that I love to say to younger people, or like I would say to my former self, is like, don't be scared to make mistakes. Because I feel like you have to make those mistakes to get to where you want to go. Also, like, don't forget that like every success story has a story behind it. You know, like we had to make a lot of mistakes. We had to go through a lot. And this is honestly like my 5th business, or like venture at least, which has been the most successful one. So there's always a story behind it. And I think just keep like, even if you're in a place where you know that you can do more, which is kind of how I felt a lot, honestly, before I started my business, just take small steps. Like you don't have to do it all straight away. You could be holding down your day job and just doing extracurricular things that are adding towards that. And then eventually you may build the confidence or the contacts or whatever it is to start that thing. And it doesn't have to happen straight away.
Yeah. Because I mean, not like to mention, Ursula does have a lot more experience in like owning businesses than I do. I am a little bit younger than she is. So you've gone through like a few other businesses that have been successful though, but like you have learned a lot of like trials in like another country and everything. I guess for people that haven't like tried to do it yet, my biggest thing is like we started this when I was 24 or 25, and I moved here basically with like $8,000 of debt, 2 Grubhub bags full of clothes, and my PlayStation. I basically just put everything on the line because I didn't have much to really have anyway. And just like, I love making pizza, and it was like what I like doing as far as energy wise. So I just I figured if there was a time to be all in on something, it would be now. I had the time to mess up a few more times. A lot of people don't really like, I mean, at least the old cliche was like, some people don't really start owning businesses until like their 40s or 50s, like at least where I grew up. Like, so to be able to like just try it now because I knew I had time to mess up, but not really that wasn't really an option the whole time though. It was just like, I knew I had a lot of energy and effort and a lot of like passion for it. And meeting Ursula, just like a lot of it just connected really well. Whereas like she helped start up businesses, but like I worked really hard for somewhere, but I haven't started a business by myself. She helped on the ground up things, and then we helped grow together. And it was just like, it was perfect in that way. But it's just, I guess like, don't be afraid to start something yourself, even if it means that you have to like struggle pretty heavily for 6 months or a year, whatever it may be. Cause like I didn't have any money for like a little bit, like to even be able to like to have a girlfriend that's 5,000 miles away, wife now, but girlfriend at the time, and not really have like a job that's really solid. Like, you know, you have to learn how to be resilient.
Don't get me wrong. Even though I've run my business for a while as well, when I was here, like my job wasn't that solid. We were going through a recession in the UK too. So before we started all of this, like we didn't have a lot to lose. Like we honestly just had each other. And I think that's kind of been a big part of this because, you know, I don't know. I don't think I could have done this solo. Like I think it makes it all worth it being able to build it with you and build it with the team, and everyone can put their
not in a cheesy way. The best part about doing this is doing it with my wife. I was DoorDash driving before, like she honestly, I know I was DoorDash driving because I didn't want to take a job, but like that was all I was really doing. And, you know, like she did really motivate me to make it something that I didn't have to hate doing, because working for someone else, I think that's part of like what makes us good bosses now, at least like if you were to ask our employees, they would say it, but it's just like, I've been through the work of it and I've been in bad parts. I don't ever want to have someone be put through that.
Yeah.
So it's just like knowing the work perspective and knowing what I put in, everyone sees it around it. And it's just, you know, it makes it achievable for everyone, because we can all just, everyone just works to their fullest capacity. And, you know, my thing, again, the question is just like, risk everything you can, because
you're young.
Yeah, when you're young, you haven't got as much to lose, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, not even, I hope I stick that way even when I get older, but it's just like,
well, the risk of when you get older is much higher.
Yeah.
You know, you're risking a lot, but when you're young, you have a chance to fall and get back up. Right. And fall and get back up.
Keep trying.
Until you can't get up anymore, because once you get older, you fall, it takes a longer time to get up.
Yeah.
You know. And so thank you guys for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You feel like we got all of your story?
Yeah, I feel like that was
sorry we zigzagged around a lot. I
know
it's not like
it's okay.
a very linear.
Well, a lot of people who come on say that this is almost like when I turn off the cameras, they're like, it's therapy for me, because I didn't even think, I never thought about it in this way, or I never thought about like, oh, how do we get from this specific place to this specific place? So it is just figuring it out a lot. So I don't think it was random. I think it all makes sense.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
Yeah. Well, thank you again.